Season 17, serial number 4, episode number 107 overall. It is Nightmare of Eden. A story, tale as old as time.
Very scary.
With a troubled past. What happens in Nightmare of Eden, dear?
Okay, so there's a ship miniature flying through space and it swooshes away, and on the ship there's two men, one with a comb over, he's the captain. It's a plane full of people, so it's more like an airplane / cruise ship. And the people are in silver sweatsuits for some reason. Also, I suppose it's an Empress is here, but actually it was the ship was called the Empress. Don't worry about it. There's a malfunction and the other pilot is off his fucking rocker. He's fucked up everything and delayed the entire plane. And whoa, they've swooshed into the face of the other plane. Another plane. Ship.
Another ship?
Yeah, would you like to read my notes with me? Would you like to read my notes with me?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm trying to read my own notes.
Because swooshed is a lot.
And they've swooshed right into the face of another plane. Oh no.
Yes. So let's go fix it. And the ships are straight up inside one another and they can't do anything about it. A deck isn't going to report, so they might be dead. A deck. Like the A deck.
A deck.
Yeah.
They called it A deck.
Yeah. It's just worded terribly, so don't think into it. So the captain goes, "Get the fuck out, you high piece of shit. This is an emergency." Kicks his coworker out, and the doctor swooshes onto the cruise, and Romana is confused why there was no explosion when these two ships met. And the situation's really bad, so we should go interfere with it.
Brad.
And they spot someone and follow after them very slowly. The captain is talking to the other captain on the other ship, arguing that they need to trade insurance information. The doctor makes his way to the main room, stops the argument, and he says, "I'm from the insurance company," and we all calmly shake hands. It's fine, everything's good. Why don't we just try to get the ships apart? So if we recreate the situation, it should reverse itself. But Bald Captain is like, "I don't got the power, because my crew is stupid." So K9 and the high character and the doctor all leave. So the ship owner and Romana go to the lounge, and Captain continues to try to save the situation.
Continues?
I'm reading what I wrote. He also looks into the galactic salvage and insurance, but finds him to be a fake. So now he knows the doctor is not with salvage and insurance. High guy is worried about the reactor and doesn't want to go that way, so he struts off in the other direction. So the doctor instead follows him into a dark corridor where he unlocks his special chest full of drugs and then runs away. And the doctor, of course, unlocks...
Special big boy filled with chest.
And he also unlocks the chest and he's like, "Oh my gosh, goosh, it's drugs." And the doctor's upset because he's even seen the whole planet destroyed by it. So that's not good. It's really bad. It's like meth on crack. It's really bad.
Finally.
The one we've been waiting for. Romana is just talking to someone who's a zoologist. And we also have a CET continuous event televiewer, I think is what it was called. It's basically movies and things inside crystals. But here's the kicker. He basically just made little bald spots across the universe because everything that is in the projection is actually inside the crystal. Whoa.
Yeah, it's like the Borg from when they first were introduced in season 2 of TNG.
Sure. Romana brings up that ship shoved together might mess with his machine, and he's like, "What the fuck Shush. She's like, "It'll mess with your machine," and he's like, "You're a woman, stop trying to be smarter than me." And the captain learns Highbrow has run away and mentioned that he might have picked up some drugs. There's no stops, and all the passengers were totally checked, so how did he get the drugs? But then zoologist is also weird, and he's been everywhere, but where has he been? And then the doctor gets outed as not an insurance salvage man, and then he goes, "It's fine. Let's go find your druggie and come to the lounge." So cut to him walking into a field of mist high off his ass while the announcement is like, "Hey, you should come to the lounge." Then the zoologist is talking about where he's been, and the doctor's like, "I know someone who worked on this," and the dude's like, "Oh, that's my guy." that's my guy. And the other ship captain seriously just wants to fucking leave. But before we go, let's call the machine a living zoo, basically slavery and shit. And he chats with Romana for a bit, and we learn a person on the other ship died at some point. The doctor walked up to where the two ships are kissing and goes, "We need to get some lasers."
You okay there, dear? We should mention, Dear's high right now because this is a episode about drugs.
Well, I mean, you have to at that point. No,
initially both of us were going to be on drugs, but
you ran out.
I don't have any more drugs.
You ran out. It's fine.
Yeah, because we ate them. We just devoured all. No, I just didn't have any left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. The fact that I wrote that two ships are kissing got me. Okay. So Romana's flicking through all the zoo bits and looking at them and thinks one of them is strange. That one is Eden. There's someone in them. And we see him move, and she's like, eh. And the zoologist lady comes in and turns the machine off, and she's like, "Don't do that. He doesn't like it when you do that." And Romana is like, "Can we look at Eden?" And she's like, "No, that's where we lost a crew member. We were close." And that's all you get to know. So we found the druggie, and he has some fucked up shit with him. K9 tries to scan the area where the ships kiss, and he can't find anything. Meanwhile, a person with a huge fucking ring is digging through the drug stash. Wow. But then the person has a laser gun pointed at the doctor and shoots him, and he is dead. Also, his drugs are taken that he had in his pocket.
Yep.
At the sick bay, we chat with the zoologist like, "Oh my god," and then Balding goes, "Hey, we gotta talk. Are there fucking live specimens Are there live specimens on my ship, you fuck?" And he's like, "Nah, there's not. Don't worry about it." And then that crew member dies, and they just kind of stare at the zoologist, like, violently. Romana has found the doctor, wakes him up, he tells Romana that the ship is smuggling drugs, and they're like, "Wait, this drug, it was destroyed. They nuked an entire planet." And he's like, "No, I guess they found another source or something." And the captains are now arguing offhandedly about each other's ships. Romana thinks the crystal machine might have been fucked because the navigator is dead now. So Romana, you're on CE2 duty. K9, Bald, and Doctor are going to go to separate the ships. Back at the crystal machine, we turn Eden back on and stare longingly at it. And then the Doctor affirms that K9 to make a hole so they can get some shit done, while a white-looking UFO looking like light thing comes out of Eden and makes Romana fucking pass out. And then when laser hole is finished that K9 was doing, we see a big old monster coming out of the wall and wiggling his goddamn arms. That's the first episode.
So, this episode was a nightmare to complete, pun intended. The director was the only person who didn't get the episode. He didn't know how to direct Doctor Who efficiently, and he wasn't interested in learning. So halfway through recording, he just quit in the midst of, like, principal photography. So the producer, Graham Williams, had to step in and finish it himself. The visual effects designer who'd worked on the program for a very long time flatly called it, without a doubt, the most disastrous Doctor Who I've ever been involved in. And when production finally wrapped on it, crew members were presented with t-shirts saying, "I'm relieved the nightmare is over." It was bad. Also, this is... Yes, if you haven't picked up on it, this is Doctor Who's most overt anti-drug sort of messaging. It's kind of odd, because you'd expect it to happen in the 80s, because that was, Dare and everything in the US, but because, all the drug mania and everything in the 80s, with the increase of heroin and cocaine production. But this happened, like, late 1970s, like the tail end of 1970. We're talking December 1979 here. So before the 80s even properly started, because the 80s didn't start in 1980, they started like 1984, let's be honest. so it's kind of weird in its sense in that it doesn't treat drugs as like a trafficking situation of like, you know, gangs and militant groups, you know, smuggling drugs like a lot of 80s things would do. Like, you know, cartels smuggling across the border, that sort of thing. It more treats it as individual smuggling here and there, with, you know, the drug being a fictional drug. Plus also the way it treats sort of just people in general, because like it kind of comes down in the middle between, you know, it's a personal responsibility of like people shouldn't, you know, take the drug to begin with, because then they'll get addicted, but also acknowledges that like there is a kind of systemic element to it, and you can't just, you know, people have some type of responsibility, but also they also have, you know, some people don't.
The police, the TSA police in this are extremely overt. Like, oh my god.
Yes, I'll talk a bit more about that later, because there's actually not much to talk about with this episode, so I'm saving a little bit for later.
Gotcha.
Really all there is to talk about is where this came from, the drug itself, and how fucking disastrous the production was. And even then, it's not like, you know, everything fell apart. It's like all these little things. It's just the one thing, which was the director.
Yeah.
But anyway, what happened in part 2, dear?
So K9 fired some lasers at it, and it's leaving. Bald Dude is wondering what the fuck is going on, and isn't sure how that could have gotten on the ship, let alone the drugs. He thinks that the doctor is an agent who works for like some drug inspection thing still. So now they run another scan to find anything on the ship that shouldn't be there. They don't find anything. And he's like, what about a shield? Is there a shield or something? And he's like, no, there's very few drugs that could be hidden from the scanner. So how do we get to the power unit and get the ships apart? Because what if we use the TARDIS, right? Because that's the whole plan. We also find Romana knocked out on the floor. It's weird. The projection is also not on anymore. Female zoologist gets Romana some water, and we see that the water is drugged, but oops, I didn't notice. The doctor brings out his laser thing, and K9 is like, that might not work. And the doctor's like, shut up, K9. The silver captain is still upset, and Bald fights him back, and the male zoo dude is just like, we gotta just trust the doctor, I guess. And then the captain chugs his drugs, because he took the water instead. And the doctor mentions that it obviously came out of that crystal-y thingy, because when the zoo comes in, the doctor calls him out. And he doesn't have this specific part, which is super scary, that the machine does not have this super specific part. Also, we're going to switch the crystal thing off for sure. Totally, absolutely keep it off. Bald Captain is now drugged up and tells Silver that he's captain and an idiot. And this is how shipboarding works. And the doctor has a plan, and we're going to enact it. This is how shipboarding works.
Okay.
I'm just reading what I wrote. Yeah, you get the idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Romana is in the TARDIS going to do what she needs to do there. Bald goes and gets more water, and the doctor's like, what? And we see K9 get his way to the other ship when the doors open. Silver is upset and switches off the power because something is wrong, and the doctor finds a crewmate. But he runs off quickly, and he looks like Elton John. And Elton John has left the building because he goes down the elevator, so the doctor takes the stairs and meets him at the bottom. Chase continues, blends in with some passengers because they all look the same. They continue to run through some passengers. The doctor gets stopped by some bitch, then continues. Back in the elevator, the doctor's like, fuck the stairs, and takes the other elevator. But Elton John was waiting at the stairs, but the doctor took the elevator, so he's good. And the doctor really wants his fucking stolen thing back. The balding captain is even more fucking high now and is trying to talk to Romana and the Zooman, and he's like, fuck it, let's just talk and shit before I'm gonna get literally shot and executed for whatever reason. I'm a bad captain.
Mood.
I lost my place in my notes. Hold on, sorry.
I'm a bad captain.
Yes. And then Baldy is like, the doctor's the one smuggling the drugs, isn't he? Want to make out? And the doctor's still chasing Elton John. Bald is now thinking he's a narcotics agent, while Zoo gets Bald more water and asks Bald if Romana is also a drug agent or whatever. Romana goes to look for the doctor. hears him being attacked by a monster, and now she is attacked, but someone with a gun shoots it back into the mist, and the doctor crawls out safely. Romana assumes that the guy who shot was the one who mugged the doctor, and Zoo has turned the machine back on, because, of course, and tells Zoo Lady that it is for a reason. And so he starts thinking about getting his shit together. You know, his shit. It needs to get together. Maybe if your boyfriend, it was your boyfriend that found the new drug source, and maybe I should blame you and gaslight you and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, maybe it was Stott. I don't know. And his girlfriend is like, I don't know. And he's like, sure. And the doctor and Romana talk about the captain being high as fuck. The doctor and zoologist talk about drugs again. The dead crew, but he puts blame on Zoo Lady. Okay. The doctor is also called to the bridge, and Romana has heard this entire conversation, and she's like, this is bullshit. They were not the drug smugglers. K9 is ready to laser some monsters. Now they have some space police TSA here, who are, of course, assholes, ACAB. Now then, they scan Romana and doctor and look for drugs, and they're clean technically, but there's traces of drugs in the doctor's pocket, so he's arrested. And then they pull the look over there, run away bit, which works, and then they turn on the CET machine for Eden and fry the door locks. And Romana's like, no, it's so unstable, we will die. And then they run in anyway. Yeah.
They run in anyway and everyone dies.
Yeah. I mean, she was right. They were gonna die.
Everyone's fucking dead.
Yep.
So initially, the drug. Can you say what the drug is?
It's like Virax or something.
Vraxoin.
Yeah.
So initially,
they call it Vrax like quite a lot. So
they call it Vrax because initially it was going to be called xylophyllin, or Zip for short. But it was changed at the last minute to not sound so appealing to children. Supposedly Lila Ward, who played Romana, suggested, hey, maybe we should change it to something that doesn't, make the drug sound interesting. Like, oh my god, they're taking Zip. Ooh, Zip.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was a kid, I'd want to take Zip.
Yeah.
But also, can we talk about the effects of the drugs real quick?
Which ones?
It seems to hit you in phases. The first phase seems to be like a high. You get a sort of high.
Mm-hmm.
The second phase is paranoia.
Mm.
And then after that, it's death, I assume.
Well, there's also like full-on anger in some cases when they are.
Well, I would say that stems from the paranoia.
I feel like it is like maybe like an after effect, like it's paranoia and then anger.
Maybe, yeah.
Because it seems like it's like a withdrawal thing. True.
Paranoia leads to anger.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. But yes, it's kind of hilarious that it's an episode like initially Douglas Adams was kind of fascinated by the idea of writing a story about drugs. He wanted to write a story written about drugs. For some reason, no one else was really kind of on board. Bob Baker also wrote the story by himself without his writing partner that he regularly works with, Dave Martin, which I don't know why. Usually they write together, so it seems a bit odd that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Another sort of thing that's weird to think about that I didn't even think about it because I didn't really know it was a thing. So when the ships sort of collide together, there's a sort of weird effect.
Yeah, the kissing.
On days with like high pressure areas, TV reception in Britain often suffered from cross-channel interference. So like if a viewer in South England, then, cross-channel might literally be true.
Yeah.
Like a French TV signal might interfere with the usual ones in Britain. So the meld effect used in the interlock spaceships would actually kind of looks like that when the two signals are overlapping. So it's like, it's almost like an in-joke of the time as well. Of like the two ships overlapping, the effect they use looks like two TV signals overlapping itself.
But no one would get that outside of like the UK in the 70s.
Well, no one would get that nowadays anymore.
Yeah.
That's for certain. But yeah, what happens in the next part, dear?
Well, they've made it onto Eden, and it's very scary, and there's also scary creatures that growl a lot, and there's a fucking monster thing that's following them. Silver Pilot meets up with the TSA space cops, and they're like, we've found a locked door. So, without that one piece of whatever, things can walk in and out of the projection, apparently, as they wish. But then the Doctor and Romana are trapped, or, well, technically it was just the Doctor, get trapped by a vagina flower, and if we fight, it could eat him. So we take the root over there, bite into it, and it sprays and gushes on everything, and we've saved the day. Actual thing that has happened.
We did it. We saved the day.
But then they don't understand where the Doctor went at this point, so we see Zoo-Man now passing blame to the Doctor, and a monster is now after the Doctor and Romana, but if they stay silent, it doesn't see him, it doesn't see them, but then it pops back up and is shot by Stott, who is still alive. And he's been here for a long time, and he thought he was left for dead, and he thought about suicide, and they, like, openly go, like, yeah, I was wanting to blow my brains out, and, like, that's actually, like, what he says, which is bizarre to me for what is considered a family show. Anyway.
Yeah. He says he'll blow his brains out.
Yeah. He also is the...
It's odd what the difference is.
Yeah. He is the actual drug inspector, by the way, and if it was stored in the crystal machine, it wouldn't show up in the scan, so the drugs have to be on Eden somewhere, right? So we need to find it. So everybody leaves, and K9, by the way, is still okay. When the Doctor walks through his wall, they all meet up, and they have found the power sources of the other ship, so they should work this out and worry about the 5 mandrills that K9 saw at another time. Karen is here to come complain to the captain, and they go to the captain's office, and there's literally mandrills in there, and they get fucking murdered, and it's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
And then the captain is just watching all the passengers get murdered and is laughing his ass off and doing nothing about it. But the TSA, space police come in and call for assistance. The Doctor and Romana are confronted by Mandrill, and the Doctor gets a huge hug, to which K9 then lasers the Mandrill. 1 second, my cats are being insane.
That's a weird thing to say on a ship.
I literally am picking it up, like, in my background noise, so I just wanted to stop them. The Doctor and Romana are confronted by a Mandrill, and the Mandrill gets a huge hug. K9 lasers it. More are coming, everyone's freaked out. So we need to have a full power switch on the TARDIS and the ship at the same time. Bald Captain is arrested, and they're like, okay, let's kill the Mandrills. And the zoologist is like, no, I don't want them to go extinct. No, you're so hot. There's also 2 in the fuel area, but we don't want to shoot them because we might shoot the fuel. So the police just go, okay, what else do you do with criminals but shoot them? So let's go shoot the Doctor. They chat about the plan, but the Doctor won't have any defenses if they do this, so that's good. Back at Eden, we shoot some monsters and run a whole lot. But the Mandrill that the Doctor shot, though, isn't dead, so that's not good because it attacks him. K9 has determination and goes through the wall thing. Romana gets out of the projection as well, runs for the TARDIS. The Doctor plays Catch Me If You Can, basically, with the Mandrill, and is ready to do the thing, but the Mandrill smashes his computer bits and melts into a pile of ash, but it's not ash. It's drugs!
It's Vraxoan!
Yes. The police are like, oh my god, this situation will get me promoted. That's it. Full stop. K9 is now in position, ready to go. The Doctor seriously has to repair the computer in time, and he's like, I can't do it. And the Bald Captain is in the main room having some withdrawals, stopping Romana from setting off the controls, and he's basically bargaining with her and then going crazy and then wants to kill her. The TSA, however, shoot the captain, but we also are like, you're Romana, you're also gonna die, so don't move. And the Doctor finishes his computer on time, and the plan goes into action, and because Romana also pressed the button, defying the cops, good job, and the ships separate. But while running out, the Doctor gets, like, Matrix swooshed away, and we find that the ships are okay. Wait. No, that was an episode. That was a whole episode. It was in between pages. My bad.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, that was
spoilers. The ships are okay.
They swooped away, and we don't know what happened.
Nope.
So, let's explain a little bit of the TSA. So, around this sort of time, you have the sort of, like we've explained in past episodes about sort of travel and planes, you have this sort of explosion of, like, economy class holidaymakers, sort of herded around like sheep around European resorts and all that sort of stuff. It also was kind of a boom time for, like, petty crooks, terrorists, and sort of shitty bureaucrats. Airport customs officers believing themselves to be the front line against, terrorists and communism, etc. Blah 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 blah. Anyone who wanted to hijack a plane sort of became a little bit power mad. And if your luggage went astray, it was your fault. In an airport where you were no longer in any one country, so localized laws apply. Even today, sort of like some police in airports kind of act like they're sort of in charge of their own little government sort of thing.
Yeah.
Bob Baker's response to this kind of thing was written in the character of Waterguard Fisk, who is the cop dude. Douglas Adams was interested in the moral aspect of drug use as a story hook, although the producer was less sure. Sort of the larger scale cocaine and heroin production harvesting in the 1980s was in the future, so this is more independent traffickers and growers. The talk of whole planets being set alight is mainly just a space opera exaggeration, not an upscale of anything that was going on at the time.
Yeah, sorry. No, I just realized I recently watched the movie Blow, and so, like, this lines up exactly with all that. What? I'm serious.
You know what? This lines up because I just watched Requiem for a Dream.
No! The fact that they smuggle the drugs through airplanes and shit using the hostesses. That's what I'm talking about, you ass. It's not just because there's drugs. It's the airline thing. Come on.
Yeah, it's the airline thing. What's the deal with airline food?
No, it's the... I don't want to have to say it again. I've already said it. Stop.
This also another small thing. The studio was shut down during filming due to fears about asbestos dust, which is kind of a glimpse into the future, because there is an episode in the 80s that basically came about because of the entire studio being shut down for like an entire 2 weeks due to asbestos, and it inspired the writer to write an episode based on like the tents that they had. Which is you'll probably be able to guess it when we get to it. But yeah, this is the sort of TSA being a bit gung-ho and sort of Stanford prison experiment on themselves of like they've been given a bit of power and now they think they're this fucking Fisk is the front line defense against drugs, so he has all the power and he can do whatever he wants, and he's justified in doing whatever he wants, which is why you get the kind of powerful things like we're all gonna get I smell a promotion. It's like, what are you talking about? We have like a lot of people dead. And he's reading out how many people died, how many people are injured. He's like, I smell a promotion. They're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, we have like casualties on the scale of a small war, and we have two suspects like already lined up. And he's like, well, we don't really know much about the suspects. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, we can pin it on them and we'll get promoted for it.
Yeah,
it's like that's a little bit on the nose. ACAB and all that.
I wouldn't even say a little bit at this point. I would just say that's ACAB. No, stop it, fuckers.
What happens in the final episode, dear?
Oh my god, the ships are okay. No one saw this coming.
Oh, okay. Wow, I never would have.
Good thing the cop got knocked out, and Romana like stands up and is like, "Oh, I guess we're okay." Silver Captain is like, "We did it. We're apart. Look, isn't it amazing? We're not damaged." And the police is like, "No, don't go anywhere. This is a crime scene. Don't run, bitch. We'll fucking follow you." But with the scan, the doctor isn't aboard the ship, so where is he? And they're taking casualties into another area, but Zoo Lady, please talk to me about Stott. We need to know what happened. And she's like, "Okay, Romana, Stat was worried or something, and he was and sent me away, and he was looking for someone, and there was a gunshot, and a mandrill attacked him, and so he died. And she's like, how do you know he died? He's like, well, Tris told me, the zoologist dude. And Ramon's like, well, do I have a surprise for you? And the doctor finally wakes up, and he's found himself on another ship with a really big fucking gun, and he seems to be on the other ship that hit the cruise liner. And we see Silver Captain just beeping some buttons. Yeah. This ship actually beeps its buttons, but the ship was apparently profiting from something huge, probably something that isn't great. And the doctor has snuck upon whatever the Silver Captain is on and gets knocked out instantly because it's a little tiny ship that goes straight for the cruiser. So he's now headed to the other ship for some reason. The police are talking to the zoologist, and he says, I think he went into the crystal machine, so keep an eye on it. And we gaslight some more, tell the police that his crew is probably put drugs in his crystal machine. Romana is unable to find the doctor. K9 goes, he just landed. Over here, let's go. Silver Captain makes his way onto the ship. They meet the doctor. But then the ship crew are here to fight, and they capture female zoo while Doctor and Romana are fine. The other ship has a laser something science crystal machine, and they're basically gonna laser over all the mandrills to the other ship and then go sell them as drugs. That's the whole plan.
As you do.
As you do. Both the captain and the zoologist are the drug smugglers. Stott shows up with a mandrill and K9 shoots it, and we are going to prove it by letting them do the transfer and then showing everyone. Zoo Lady meets up with zoologist and argues with them, not understanding what's happening. Doctor is confronted by the crystal machine room, by everyone, actually, like the police, the ship police, basically everybody. It's a lot of people. And then Stott comes out of the projection and just goes, hey, I have an ID. Don't worry about it. It's those other two guys. And the police are like, okay.
I have a permit.
I have a permit. It says I can do whatever I want. Zoo Lady is confronting them, of course, and they have a philosophical argument about drug users for a second, and it's kind of just out of place, honestly, in the conversation.
A little bit.
But Mandrill shows up and Zoo Lady runs away, and we shoot the ship's controls and capture Zoo Lady, only for K9 to chase after the silver pilot, but then he stops and comes back and protects Romana from a Mandrill that was gonna attack her. He's like, I'm here for you.
Aww.
However, an announcement goes out about the drug dealers, and they go, oh, that was fast. And the doctor comes into the main drive room and convinces the police of his plan. And the police are basically herding the mandrills back into the projection, for now at least. Doctor uses K9's whistle to calm them down, lead them into projection. There's some funny running around antics where the doctor almost dies, and the police are like, leave him for dead. And then he runs out and they switch off the projection, and out he goes in time. It's fine.
Out he goes in oven, cold, out oven.
He gets out of the projection just in time, basically. Yeah. Oven, the hot food. It's a puzzle, Luke. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he basically tells Romana, you have 2 minutes to repair this fucking machine. You have to do it. And then the other laser on the other ship is ready to go. But the first crystal machine needs more power, so they hook it up to K9 to increase its range. The laser has shot over to this crystal, and the doctor's like, okay, Romana, do this thing and this thing. But she's like, the transfer was made. He's like, don't worry about it. Do it. K9, track the other ship. And he's like, okay, it's going here. And he's like, are you sure? I hope so. And then he boops the crystal, and he's like, oh, well, it looks like I caught you in the crystal. Ha ha ha. Hey, cops, go in there. Go in there and arrest them for me, please. And they're like, okay. The zoologist tries to gaslight the doctor again, and the doctor is like actually furious, like weirdly extremely livid for some reason, and it's kind of interesting to see that, I will say. So everyone,
no mercy for drug smugglers,
apparently. So everyone is heading to the TARDIS, and they also are taking the crystals to put everyone back on their planets because the TARDIS is more advanced. And we make a joke that I don't get, and then the show is over. Yeah.
Oh, it's like what? Oh, it's not that funny. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's just a joke. Don't worry about it.
It's just a
Mm-hmm.
The funny little giggle.
Mm-hmm. Got anything else to talk about?
A little bit of a. No, there's really nothing else to talk about. That's kind of it. What did you think of Nightmare of Eden, dear?
What'd you think of Nightmare of Eden?
I think it's a fun rewatch. It's not boring. Like, stuff does happen, and it's neat to remember some of the lines in this, like the ones.
Oh,
that
that's
I've already forgotten.
That's why I haven't been paid.
Yeah, the one where he's like, I've just like, this company that you said you work for, Doctor, is
discontinued
went out
or
of business
whatever
30 years ago, and the Doctor just goes, "Oh, I was wondering why I hadn't been paid."
Yeah,
It's a good line.
There are some good moments, but I don't know if it's enough for me to like make it worth rewatching. So I gave it like a 4.
It's not. Yeah,
I don't.
It's not like
I don't
my favorite to rewatch. I wouldn't go like, "Hey, let's watch Nightmare of Eden." But it's one where it's like, if someone was like, "Hey, do you want to watch Nightmare of Eden?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, it's all right. It's pretty fun."
See, I would see for
It's
me. I don't hate it, but if someone did that, I'd be like, "You want to watch something else, like a different episode, maybe?" Please.
Yeah, let's watch a different one. Let's watch the Underwater Menace, the one that you gave us 0.
Oh, God. I haven't given a 0 since.
I think you gave 1 0 since. Hang on, I can check.
Oh. Well,
Hang
listen,
on.
I don't have
Control F. 0.
I don't have memory function right now.
Yep, there's the Underwater Menace.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 73. What the hell is episode 73? I've forgotten what that is.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Wait. God damn it. I tried this fucking... God damn it, Google. The Monster of Peladon you gave a 0. What the fuck? Also, another one you gave a 0 was The Talons of Weng Chiang, which that one...
Okay.
Oh wait, no, you didn't give that one a 0. You gave that one a 1. The Invasion of Time you gave a 0 because it was just running through corridors.
Yeah. Also, I know exactly why the Monster of Peladon was a 0, and it was mostly the villains.
Oh yeah, because it's the Ice Warriors.
Yeah,
the Ice Warriors aren't bad in that one.
I fucking hate the Ice Warriors. I hate them.
Just wait until we get to. They never come back. Don't worry. They were meant to come back, but then the show got cancelled.
Good.
But anyway, that is Nightmare of Eden.
Woo.
Next episode, The Blank of Naimon. The Blank of Naimon.
Monster?
Kinda.
I don't know.
2 more guesses.
I can't think of words. Why is this the hard part of the podcast today?
Because you're high.
I mean, yes, but like that's not the point. Can I have a hint?
I'll give you 1 hint.
Thank you.
It is a... I don't know if you'd call it a body part or not. Yeah, I'd call it a body part. I think that's sufficient to call it a body part.
Face.
No. I will give you a secondary hint. Humans don't have them. Okay, apparently it's not a body part, it's more an outgrowth.
Oh, horn.
Close.
Close?
Like super close. There's multiple.
Horn. Okay, sorry, horns. Holy shit.
Yes, come on, be correct, be accurate. This is accuracy.
Accuracy, we're
the
looking
horns
for
of Naimon.
Accuracy.
The horns of Naimon. I hope you like minotaurs.
Is this going to be like that other time where you were like, I hope you like Greek mythology, and I was like, fuck yeah, and then it was terrible.
Funny you say that. The DVD, those 2 DVDs were actually packaged together in a box set called Myths and Legends.
Oh.
Because they had they had a unifying theme that they were episodes about or based on myths and legends. They're also paired with the Time Monster for some fucking reason. I mean, I guess it's because it involved Atlantis, but I don't know. But yeah, The Horns of Nimon. I actually really like this one, although it's one that I barely ever rewatch. It's a interesting one for certain. So, The Horns of Nimon. Anything you want to add, dear?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my stomach is starting to act up because of my hernia. Like,
sounds
right
like dear is having fun. Deer's having a little bit too much fun getting high.
No, I went from having fun to I'm no longer really all that high, and my stomach's acting up, and it's great.
Hell yeah!
Don't
do drugs, kids. That was the moral of this episode.
You'll get heartburn, basically.
You'll get heartburn. Good night, everybody.
Good night.